Hi, how's everyone doing today? I'm Jeremy, and this is Hanging with JLR. It's been about 2 weeks since I've last uploaded a video. I know, I've been focusing on work. I'm sorry. It's just how it is. I gotta make the monies. Either way, I'm gonna be talking about graduation today. So, hope you stick around. I'll see you after the intro. Ah, graduation. A time of freakouts and stress and relief in a way. That's most of what graduation is. It's like graduation is a big achievement because you've been working at it for pretty much your entire life. Um, it's like with me, I started out in preschool and moved up to junior kindergarten, and then I moved into kindergarten, and then I went into first grade all the way up to 12th grade. I graduated at the class of 2018, so it's like I've already been through the graduation stages, you know? So I thought I'd at least share a little bit on my graduation stuff. Uh, and I want to say, first off, congratulations to the class of 2019. I don't know if you graduated already or if you're soon to graduate. Either way, the high school I went to hasn't graduated yet, but they're soon going to be. So I hope everyone's got their plans, I guess, set in a way. And if you don't, I hope everything works out either way. Um, with me, I had plans to, at the beginning of my high school stuff, I had plans to go into computer work and to go to college and stuff like that. But I ended up saying I might do the post office and, oh, wow, Jesus. I might end up doing the post office and not go to college and be able to earn some substantial money and have benefits. And I ended up not doing that. And I planned about the time I graduated was the time I was kind of figuring that out, where because I used to load wood with my dad a lot, so I was like loading packages from a truck or onto a truck or from the truck to the building isn't that big of a deal. I was like, it's at least inside a building, so it's at least cool or hot, either way. I was fine with it. It would still kind of keep me in shape, get me energy, or like have me some exercise. And I'd be able to have benefits and a substantial pay. I think it's like $21 an hour. I know, right? But the only downside to it was there was a test that you had to take, and it wasn't even the fact that the test was needed for the package handler part. It was just a test that was needed to join the post office, which it was mostly for people who would walk around and deliver papers. And I didn't feel like I needed to do that or wanted to do that because it was like, if you fail, you have to wait 4 months. And I'm like, well, if I fail, then I'm screwed. So UPS was my second option. I always thought UPS was better. I don't know why. It's like they seem to get my packages on time and at a set time, and they're at least in one piece, I should say. But I ended up applying for that because once you graduate, and if you tell your parents, I don't know if I really want to go to college, and they're like, okay, sure. Once you graduate, they're sitting there going like, you need to get a job, and so that's kind of how this one works. Nice drink. No, the first thing that they do is immediately go, well, have you got a job yet? Do you have plans to do this? And then they try to shove jobs at you that you don't want to do. Like, I didn't want to move out of my town. It's like I'm in a place where there's not much crime, but there's also not a lot to do either. So it's like you want to move to do more, but you don't want to move because there's nice weather to an extent, and there's not a lot of crime. So you kind of have to meet this point to where it's like, do you want to do a lot, or do you want to have a nice area to live in? So that's kind of how that one. What is it? What? Okay. But it's always within people that I know, they've graduated and went to college. They've moved away. They wanted to move away. A lot of them were like, "I'm getting the hell out of this town." And I was over here, the only one who was like, "You know what? This town's alright." you know. So I ended up staying here, and with my whole thing, the UPS thing, they didn't even answer me. So I ended up not being able to do the UPS job, and it's July, and I'm sitting there trying to figure out what I'm going to do, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do, what I'm planning to do, how I'm going to do it, and I ended up saying, well, I like YouTube. I'm planning to do YouTube, and I was like, closest thing I can think of is radio, and I knew a couple people who were a part of radio, but I didn't know how to contact them to figure out, how do I get into radio? How do I even start at radio? And it ended up getting to a point to where I asked my granny, and she was like, "Oh, it's right down the street." It's like, I'm like, wait, we actually have a station here? So I found out where it was. I ended up contacting them in some way, and I was contacting them to figure out how to get started in radio, and I ended up getting a job at the radio station. So I was glad to be a part of that system, and was lucky enough to be able to get a job at a radio station. And I think it's like after the summer comes around, it's like I'm supposed to go full time at the radio station, because I've been doing a little class trying to finish a segment of what I had as a post grad. It's like I'm a post grad at a technical school, so I ended up going to that to finish a course that I did in high school. And once I get done with it, I'm supposed to, which is the same time everyone else graduates, I'm supposed to start full time, and I might actually have a show. So it's like I'll probably end up posting something about that on my YouTube channel once it comes around to it. I have plans to do for a show, and I hope that I have the opportunity. I think it's supposed to be somewhere within July, I think. Throughout high school, a lot of people said that they liked my voice, even though I didn't talk a lot. They would all at once hear my voice, and they said that that I had a nice voice and so forth. So I think it was a good idea. It's like, quoting Delilah on this point, I wasn't pretty enough or handsome enough to jump into TV and do anything in media. So and I love to talk, so radio was a big thing. Even though I didn't talk throughout school, it's like I talked everywhere else. I talked all over the place. So within school, you're not supposed to talk. It's like, if you have free time, you could talk. But when you're going through school, it's called being respectful to the teacher, It's like I had a lot of people throughout my classes that did not realize that. So that was most of the reason I didn't even talk throughout school. But it's like I was lucky enough to get a job at the radio station, and I hope to get a show here soon. I might end up actually live streaming that on Twitch, but I'm not sure how that one's going to work. I know they have less rules about music and stuff like that during your live streams. Because I know YouTube has a huge set of that rules for that stuff. So I'm not going to even deal with that. I might put a edited down version of a video of it, for the YouTube part of it. I don't know. It just depends on what I feel like at that point, or if I can even get around to doing that, I should say. But with Twitch, I think I can end up getting a little bit more interaction along with what I'm going to be doing at the radio station, because I think I want to take phone calls and have the whole community join in with it. So it's going to be a journey and an experience for me. I hope I'm able to do radio pretty much all my life. I hope. The pay for it, I don't know how well that will suffice. It's like, I think I might get more money. I don't know how that works, but you never know either. Either way, I ended up getting into radio, and I actually have had this job for September into October would be a year. So I've been here more than 6 months, I think. And I enjoy it. I'm glad to have gotten a job that I enjoy, that I don't have any problem with the people that I work with, and so forth. I think that's always a good idea. I think it's a good thing to have whenever you get a job, is to enjoy it, because if you enjoy it, it's not really a job. It's more like a fun thing for you to do. It's more like a hobby in a way. It's like, if you enjoy it, it's easier on you to go and do. You don't feel like you've burnt out in some way, to where if you go in to a job you hate, then you won't feel as comfortable. You won't feel as happy to go in and do something. You won't feel like you're doing it for a good reason. If you go into a job that you like doing, you enjoy it, you feel happy with it, you want to do more towards it, you know what I mean? So I think that's a good idea, or a good look to have. I think with other people that I went to school with, a lot of them went to college, and they said, I'm going to college. That's most of what their outlook was. It's like, whenever I would do YouTube all the time, so it's like a lot of people was like, well, YouTube's not going to perform for you in any way, shape, or form. And I'm like, you might be right, but I enjoy it. And what's funny is YouTube is a good reason why I actually end up getting the job at the radio station, because I had somewhat of experience sitting behind the microphone and talking and editing around within production. So it was a big, it was like a big help in my direction for that stuff. With me being at a radio station, I feel a little uncomfortable when I'm behind the microphone, so I try my best to, I'm trying my best to get used to being behind it. I need to get back into making more YouTube videos anyway. I was focusing more on my job anyway, is why I was gone for like the 2 weeks, because when you have a sleep schedule of a teenager like I am, and you go to work at 8 in the morning and have a little class to where you can't really do anything until after 4 o'clock, you feel like you want to just sleep all the time. So that's my biggest flaw, I guess I should say. So I'm trying my best to figure out certain times to get better on a sleep schedule in a way. And in a way, I'm trying my best to get back into YouTube, because I will say gaming is not it's not something that I do a lot anymore, because I just haven't had a lot of time to go in and do anything. I want to get back into gaming. I actually have planned to play some CSGO, I think. I played it a little bit recent. Sorry, I'm a little choked up from allergies, as to say. I've been playing CS:GO a little bit because I haven't played CS:GO in 2-3 years since my last video of it, and it's been that long since I've probably played CS:GO, and I ended up playing a little bit of it last. Let me think. I think a couple of days ago, I should say, and I ended up not doing as bad as I thought I would. I thought I'd end up just dying completely, but I was still kind of all right. I think my lowest kills on the game was like 12, 13. So it wasn't like it was bad either. But a lot of what I played was arms race, so it's like either way I was going downhill. But back on track with the graduation stuff. It's like a lot of people that I know of graduated from a community college and they're off to do something else at other colleges. I think out of everything, the biggest, if you could get a job for people who haven't graduated yet, if you can get a job and you can focus on a job and school, I think that's a good idea because you at least have that secondary thing to fall back on if you can't get a job anywhere else or if you can't figure out what you're going to do college wise. I think that's always a good idea. But if you do sports or if you do other stuff, then it's not a good idea. If you do sports and if you can focus on sports, a job, and school, then I need your focus. I need your capability to that one. Oh, pardon me. These sinuses and crap, the allergies is a rough one, especially with the way my job is. It's always a rough one. But with graduation, it's not as scary as you think it would be for people who haven't graduated yet. You kind of have to make a plan in a way on what you're going to do, and you got to figure out how you're going to do it and you also have to have more than one plan. With me, I didn't. So you kind of get to a point where you feel like it's more nerve-wracking than it actually is. You start to have like you're so much stress built on, am I going to go to college? How am I going to get accepted into here? If I don't get accepted into this, what am I going to do? And a lot of people that I went to school with, a lot of them got accepted in the big colleges. A lot of people got into big colleges, multiple big colleges, and ended up going to a smaller one because they had better programs for what they needed to do. I know a couple people who went to community colleges and are going to a bigger college somewhere else in the near future. I know a couple people who have went to college and said this isn't what I want to do and dropped out. So I might end up trying to get them somewhere on this podcast in a way, because I'm trying my best to get some more mics, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. But graduation is it's a big achievement, and if you can conquer that, then I think it's probably one of the hardest things once you get through it, it's going to be simple. I think I don't think it's really that big of a problem once you get walking across the stage, getting your diploma, and dealing with it after that. I don't think there's much to it after that. You go to college or you don't go to college. It's just kind of how that one works. I think either way, you can do anything you want to as long as you believe in yourself. I won't deny that. Because if you don't have any belief in yourself, then you can't, then you don't have any will to go in and do anything. Because I think that's your biggest, like, what's the word I'm looking for here? Your biggest judge is yourself, because you're gonna see stuff and you're gonna be like, well, you can't do that. You know you can't do, like, you gotta go outside of your comfort zone in a way. It's like I was somewhat still shy, but I ended up doing YouTube. I ended up getting to work at a radio station where it might be a radio station, but you get to meet all these different people, and you get to work with different people all over the place, you know. You get to meet people at businesses and stuff like that. So it's like, to meet all these people, you kind of have to go out of your comfort zone, especially to get behind a microphone and talk to the whole city, even though if one person's listening or if no one's listening, or if you got the whole town of 1,000 to whatever amount of people. You kind of got to jump out of your comfort zone in some way to really like be the best you can be, I should say. Once you graduate, you kind of got to go into doing whatever you can to make your way through life. And I think it's once you get past school ending and you realize that I'm an adult now, I have to suffice for myself, and you so forth, you kind of get your bearings right there, and you know what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. So I think that's the biggest thing you need to know. Graduation's not really that hard. Once you get through it, everything's kind of there because it's the start of your life. You're going to go through, and it's just going to be something you got to go through, and I think everyone's got it in them, you know? So I hope if you had any nervousness or stress over it, I hope I calmed you down with that one. That's most of my reason for talking about this, because you got to think it's not really that hard. I was laid back throughout school. Most of what I wanted to do was to get through it and go on. I had a lot of people who I knew who was a part of every group throughout school, and they worked and they overworked themselves and stressed out over all kinds of stuff. And some of them did, or it was sometimes a good idea for them, sometimes it was a bad idea for them, because, you know, it's stressing them for no reason. And there's also a certain point to where you realize that you can't overstress yourself, but it also gets you ready for when you go to work and you get stressed at different points. You kind of realize what you need to do to work with it. So yeah, this video's long enough, I should say. So I hope you all enjoyed. That's most of what I could say. Congratulations to the class of 2019. Don't forget, I have a Facebook page you can go like. I'll have it at least linked down in the description. Even if I change it for my radio show, or if I keep it the same thing, I'll pretty much put it down there either way. I have an email that if you want to send me some articles that you want me to look at or talk about, if you have a question for me or something like that, you can always send me an email of what you want me to talk about. I'll try my best to do it, because I want to do stuff that you want me to react or talk about in some way. I'll always have different people on if you once I get around to getting more microphones and so forth. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed, and that should be it. Have a good one, everyone.